Not even like they have to act like them. Just put themselves in somebody else's position. Hi, my name is Ariana. For today's video, I'm going to be reacting to Driving While Black Part 3 by sWooZie. I did not watch Part 1 or 2, so like, don't know what's happening, but I can really expect, because, you know, I'm black myself, I can just expect what he's going to say in this thing, so let's get into the video.
When I interviewed Obama, I teased a Driving While Black story.
So,
he interviewed Obama?
Who wears his hat backwards from time to time.
Lit.
I get racially profiled. Yeah. Okay, most recent story I have for you is driving, pulled over to send some text messages. Cop pulled up behind me, call for backup. They're all over me, harassing me for my ID, registration. You know, I get harassed often. I knew someday I would jump on YouTube and share. One night I'm driving and I'm texting my friend and he says to me, he says, Star Wars Episode 3 is the worst of the prequels. You ever have those friends that just say something that have you look at them and be like, how are we even friends? Yes. You're sitting here trying to tell me an 18-minute pod race is better than Obi-Wan versus Anakin? You're crazy. Episode 3 is the best out of all three. Arguably the best out of all of them. So anyways, these texts start getting heated. So I pull over to text. 5 minutes later, a cop drives by. As he passes, he slows down. In my head, my psychic abilities can sense this dude's gonna go down the street, turn around, and come back. I can sense it. 2 minutes later, a cop car drives by. I don't know if it's the same one. Might be. I don't know. All I know is this guy rolls by at like 2 miles an hour. All right, he could be just looking to see what's going on. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And what a lot of my friends who aren't black don't understand, when it comes to cops, especially in the South, we can feel when an altercation is about to go down. If you've never been harassed by the police, I don't expect you to understand, but if you know, you know. And I'm honestly not in the mood to be harassed right now. So once the cop passes and goes around the corner, I start my car up and I drive into the first neighborhood, bust a left, pull in there, and park again to keep texting. Because my friend is straight tripping right now. Yes, Duel of Fates was fire, but he's tripping because episode 3 overall was more bomber than episode 1. Let's be clear. So I get back to texting, and guess who comes creeping into the neighborhood? Police. So now I know harassment is imminent. He creeps in, drives past me. I look in my rearview mirror. Dude busts a 3-point turn. Here we go. Camera. Christmas lights. I've been pulled over for DWB. I've been pulled over for WWB. This is my first time being pulled over for PWB. But you know what? He might be coming in just to see if I'm okay. And I told the story to a few of my friends, and this is the part that always trips them out. Anytime I get pulled over by the cops, I roll down my window, put one hand out the window, one hand on the ceiling. That's because when my parents were teaching me how to drive, I had 2 phases. One phase was my mom teaching me how to drive all the technical stuff. Phase 2 was with my dad, and it was all about, when I get pulled over, this is how you act so you don't get shot. Every cop wants to feel like they're 10 feet tall, so always talk to them with respect. No sudden movements. Keep your hands on the steering wheels at all time, or if you want to feel extra safe, one hand out the window, one hand on the ceiling. So I see the cop walking up. As a black man, when I get pulled over, I'm all about de-escalation. I put on a cardigan, I put a tennis racket in my passenger seat, so when the cop walks upon me, I'm like, Officer, what's going on? I'm so confused. First thing out of his mouth, license and registration. Not, are you okay? You good? Checking up on you? I don't know how many of you guys know the law, but the law specifically states a cop can only ask you for your ID if they have reasonable suspicion that you've just committed a crime. They didn't even say they suspicious. Grab my registration, hand him my license, done. He goes back to his car. I was talking to my friend London about this, and she was telling me about the last time she got pulled over. I was doing 65 and a 45. Cop caught me, pulled me over. Whoa, somebody's in a hurry. He asked for my license and registration. I gave it to him. All right, I'm gonna go check this. If you're clean, I'm gonna let you go. Went back to his car, checked it, came back over to me. All right, you're good to go. You want me to stop traffic while you merge? Okay. And then he stood out in the middle of the street, stopped traffic, so I can get back onto the road. That don't happen for black people. Now, anytime I get pulled over for nothing, I like to play this game called I wonder what lie you're gonna tell me as to why you pulled me over. So the cop is back there checking to see if I have any warrants, and another cop pulls into the neighborhood and gets behind me. The backup cop walks up alongside my car and he was like, you know why you got pulled over? Officer, what's going on? I'm so confused. By the way, do you play tennis? Well, your license plate, the light on your license plate was flickering. Whenever I feel like a cop is feeding me some BS, there's this thing I do. I go, huh? To let him know that I know that he's full of crap. Yeah, your license plate light was flickering.
I know some tripping. He said his
Really?
license plate like
Yeah. 5 minutes later, the first cop that pulls me over comes back. So, do you know why we pulled you over? And I'm like,
I'm out here for the purge. What you out here for?
you're technically
Yes.
in a construction zone. Half of the houses here are still under construction. They're being built. And you're in a construction zone.
So considering they didn't even take the time to get their story straight, I'ma assume that this is not true. It sounded like he was making that up, so I went home and checked. Neighborhoods that have houses being built, I don't see that anywhere being considered construction zones. He might be right, I don't know,
then
but
there would
that's
have
just
been
what
a
I found.
construction zone
As this guy's
sign
talking to me,
somewhere.
a third cop shows up.
Third
you
cop drives by me
serious?
and side-eyes me so hard. I'm sitting here like, what did I do to you, bro? You're the one harassing me.
The thing about cops is they're in an authoritative position and they hate as soon as anybody questions that
keep checking
authority.
this
So the instant you
because if
say,
this thing
why are you
goes
pulling me
off
over, that's you
while this
questioning that
video is
authority.
on,
When some
I'm
cops
gonna
pull me over and
lose
it's
my
obvious they're just profiling me, they run my license, they see everything is clean, that's not enough for them. Instead of letting me go, they start doing little things to push my buttons just to irritate or aggravate me. You know how your sibling will do things to irritate you? Kind of like that. It doesn't happen every time, but it happens sometimes. In this case, it seems like they're trying to irritate me by having me wait out here because it's been 45 minutes that I'm still on the side of the road, because by this point it's been 45 minutes, 3 cops are behind me, and can anybody here tell me one thing that I've done wrong? How slow is your laptop back there, bro? It takes you 45 minutes to run my license? You back there on a 56K modem using AOL? If I were to go outside and harass somebody, that's wrong. Just because you're wearing a blue suit does not make it any better. In fact, it makes it even worse. And like I mentioned in the Obama interview,
Right. I've learned to live with the harassment, but
I've been profiled while driving so many times, I could do 12 of these driving while black videos. Cops have pulled me over on a traffic stop and started pointing guns at my car. Like, I'm gonna give y'all a quick bonus story. A month before that
Bonus
happened,
time,
my sister
bonus
asked to borrow my
time.
car. She takes my car, drives to her boyfriend's house. As she's leaving his neighborhood, cops pull her over. So the cop pulls her over, starts trying to irritate her. She doesn't bite. Then he says, "Can I search your car?" She says, "Okay." Cop takes my sister and her boyfriend to the front of the cop car. Backup shows up with a K9. Cop number 2 takes the K9 around the car. The first cop is back there with my sister and her boyfriend. He starts poking at her. Cop number 2 comes back with this drug kit. Apparently, I've never heard of this, but he has a drug kit. I wiped this swab on the passenger seat. It turned blue. That means we got heroin residue. Your boyfriend was in the passenger seat. Going to jail. They took my sister's boyfriend to jail. Mind you, my sister's boyfriend doesn't even smoke weed. So the fact that they found heroin residue in the passenger seat of my car, highly unlikely. That's on his record forever. How quick are you trying to hire somebody who's been arrested for heroin possession? OPD, ladies and gentlemen. Are there bad cops out there?
Yeah,
Yes. Are there good cops out there? Definitely.
A
Cops are putting their
handful.
life on the line every single day, and I feel that at least deserves a mention. Some of my friends are cops, so I don't want anybody to think I'm jumping on here just to bash cops. That's not what I'm about. The best way to solve a problem is first identifying
That's
it,
sad.
and secondly, let's start talking about some solutions. Up until recently, there's been very little accountability
I was
for law
gonna say
enforcement.
something, but I'll wait for
Racism,
it to
sadly,
the end.
is still alive, and on both sides of the
If I
line. Did you
remember.
guys know they had groups on Facebook and people on Twitter trying to cancel Michael B. Jordan because the last 2 girls they saw him dating weren't black? You know what? Since he doesn't date a lot of black girls,
remember
let's
that.
boycott Black
Like,
Panther.
he can't
That man is free to
date who he
date
wanna date?
whatever girl he wants, no matter what color she is. That's prejudice AF. I think another problem is people don't even know what being prejudiced or racist is. Let me just break it down. One quick example. You take what you know or what you
got
think
clips
you
in my
know about
head,
one
though.
person, and then you apply that to everybody in that race. That black guy is bad, so all black guys are bad. Let me just pull this one over and harass him for 45 minutes. See my point? In 2015, when I moved to LA, Orlando PD and Osceola PD were fighting to not wear body cameras. Why do you think that is? It's almost like they don't want their
wanna
behavior to
get
be
caught
monitored.
shooting people that they don't need
And
to
yesterday,
be
NYPD
shooting.
announced that every cop has to wear a body camera, but they're only releasing footage if a cop draws his firearm or discharges his firearm. There's a lot of crap and a lot of shady stuff a cop can do before they draw their firearm. It's a good start, but no. We're talking about solutions now. If cops want to build trust, how about, here's an idea. Anytime a cop pulls you over for a traffic stop, that civilian can go download the body cam footage from their traffic stop.
Did you guys know that there's cops out there who repeatedly turn their body cameras off?
As part of this investigation, Captain Chad Ocuzio said he noticed a
Anyway.
pattern of certain officers that wouldn't turn them on, nor would they document their incidents.
It's almost like they don't want their behavior to be monitored. Accountability.
saying
So there
those
you go.
little
I've addressed some
fishes.
problems. I proposed some solutions. Any cop that ever catches me speeding or doing an illegal U-turn, please pull me over, give me a ticket. You will never hear me complaining. I'll never jump on here and be like, oh my God, these cops. No, you're doing your job. But we got a few problems. Accountability, trigger happy cops, trigger happy civilians. So when a civilian can call 911, the operator tells them, stop following this kid home. The civilian ignores that, gets out the car, starts a fight, and then shoots the kid who is unarmed. When the cops show up, they're like, oh, self-defense, you're free to go. That sends a message. When that cop choked out Eric Gardner and they're like, oh, you're free to go home. That sends a message. Hopefully, we can take this time to better ourselves. Racism isn't going to stop anytime soon. Not on here trying to say that. There are tons of good cops who are doing their jobs very quietly that we're never going to hear about. But hopefully, we can start looking at some problems and start providing some common sense solutions. That's all I'm saying.
That's the end of the video. I was gonna say, like, the things, like, there's, like, certain people, right? And, like, black people already have a hard time just existing. Like, the things, like, some people do to us, it's like, you do know, like, that's gonna look bad on us, right? Like, you do know you reacting this way and you pretending to be hurt when you're clearly not hurt and having it on camera and then calling the police and having this whole act. Do you know how that's gonna look on us? That's gonna make, like, just because of us existing, that's automatically gonna make them think, oh, they definitely did it. But then you show them evidence and they're like, oh, we gotta take this case even further. Like, what is there to take further when there's video evidence of it? Like, I'm not understanding. Like, and then it gets put on your record that you did something you never even did. And then, like, when you try to get a job now, it's like, they're gonna look at that record and be like, oh, you did this and that. And it's like, I never did this and that. Like, they just framed me. Like, do you know how tough that is for us? Like, it's already hard enough. And then you just putting on this whole act. And then when police do it, it's like, bruh, we got the evidence. We got the evidence from the cameras in the city that's around you. What more evidence do you need? Like, there's a handful of good cops, is what I will say. Like, they're not all bad, but it's kind of hard to find the good ones these days. Like, if people just woke up, you know, just got like an enlightenment, you know, and be like, oh, just really looked at the world and put themselves and others, not even like they have to act like them, just put themselves in somebody else's position and like realize that stereotypes are just not true to everyone. For example, somebody could be like me and like to read, write, and like very shy, and like they could like own a library or something. But just because they're black, they can't do none of that. Like, that's crazy to me. Or like somebody could be white and like listen to rock and roll and do all this crazy crap, but nobody's gonna judge them. I just think this world needs to put themselves in people's places sometimes and realize how others feel in different situations, you know? And like think about equality. You know, if they just thought about that word really hard, you know, we could probably have it. Or like think about the people who they picked to lead us. Like if they thought really hard about that, then like we could probably have some form of change. Or like if everybody who's staying quiet and is acknowledging that this stuff is happening in the world, like the people that are quiet, if they just got up and helped, they could make a really big change. Like I'm just saying, like not everybody is bad. So like I'm gonna say this very crisply and clearly. Not everybody is bad, but there's like only like a handful of good people. I wouldn't even say a handful. It's like it's like you barely see the good ones, you know? Like you barely see people speaking facts. And then when people do speak their facts, they want to turn it on you. Like, this is literally in the history books. How are you going to turn it on us and say we're saying something rude and bad when it's literally in the history books that this actually happened? Like, it literally happened. Anyways, that's it for today's video. I'm really going on a whole rant. But, like, it's like, if people just looked at the history and, like, put themselves in other people's positions and thought about it, we could probably have a difference right now. You know, 2020 has just been a crazy year. But, that's it for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Comment down below what I should react to in my next video. My socials will be in the description box down below. With that being said, don't forget to love yourself, be yourself, deuces.